San Diego. The name itself often brings images to mind. People think of warm sunshine. They picture beautiful sandy beaches stretching for miles. They imagine surfers riding the Pacific waves. It is a city known for its pleasant weather and relaxed lifestyle. Many tourists flock here every year. They come seeking a perfect vacation. This is one side of San Diego, the bright side that gleams under the California sun. It is the image the city often presents to the world, a postcard of paradise. But there is another side to this city, a reality that exists in the shadows of the gleaming buildings and bustling tourist spots. This is the San Diego where not everyone has a sunny outlook or a comfortable home. Here, thousands of people live without a permanent roof over their heads. They face daily struggles that are hard for many to imagine. This contrast is stark. It is a tale of two cities within one. One city enjoys prosperity and beauty. The other grapples with hardship and a lack of basic security. This hidden crisis of homelessness is not always obvious to the casual visitor. It might be seen in a tent pitched under a freeway overpass, or perhaps in a person sleeping on a park bench covered with a thin blanket. These are glimpses into a much larger and more complex problem. The issue touches many lives. It affects not just those without homes, but the entire community. Understanding this other San Diego is important. It requires looking beyond the surface. The challenge is to see both sides of San Diego clearly. We must acknowledge the beauty and the appeal. But we also need to face the difficult truths about those left behind. This city of contrasts calls for a closer look. It demands our attention and our understanding. Only then can we begin to think about how to bridge the gap between the sunshine and the shadows. It's a journey into the heart of a city that is both blessed and burdened, a place of dreams for some and daily survival for others. To understand the depth of homelessness in San Diego, we must look at the numbers. These figures paint a clear if troubling picture. Each year, a count is done. It is called the point-in-time count. This count tries to find out how many people are homeless on a single night. In early 2024, the count for San Diego County revealed a sobering reality. More than 10,000 individuals were experiencing homelessness. This number includes people living in shelters. It also includes those living on the streets, in cars, or in other places not meant for human habitation. Within that large number, a significant portion are considered unsheltered. This means they do not have even a temporary shelter bed. They are truly exposed to the elements. In the 2024 count, it was found that over half of those 10,000 people were unsheltered. That is thousands of individuals without a safe place to sleep at night. These are not just abstract statistics. Each number represents a person with a story, a person facing immense challenges in one of America's most desirable cities. The problem is not small. It is a significant crisis. The trend in these numbers has also been concerning. Over the past several years, despite various efforts, the figures have often shown an increase. This tells us that the problem is persistent. It may even be growing. Factors like rising housing costs and economic instability contribute to this trend. The city and county are large. San Diego is the 8th largest city in the United States. This scale means that even a small percentage of the population facing homelessness translates into a large absolute number of people needing help. And the numbers keep reminding us of the urgency. It is important to remember that these counts are an estimate. The actual number of people experiencing homelessness at some point during the year is likely much higher. The point-in-time count provides a snapshot. But homelessness is often a dynamic situation. People move in and out of it. Some may find temporary solutions. Others may fall into homelessness for the first time. So, while the official figures are high, the true scope of housing insecurity and the risk of homelessness likely affects an even broader segment of the San Diego community. Homelessness does not have a single face. It affects a wide range of people. There are single men who often make up the largest group. But there are also many women. There are families with young children struggling to find stability. There are teenagers and young adults who have aged out of foster care or run away from difficult home situations. Veterans who have served our country are also found among the homeless population. Older adults, sometimes on fixed incomes that cannot keep up with rising costs, also face this hardship. Each group has unique needs and vulnerabilities. People become homeless for many different reasons. It is rarely a choice. Often, it is a result of a series of misfortunes. A sudden job loss can be the start. An unexpected medical bill can push a family over the edge. For others, it might be a lack of affordable housing. Rents in San Diego are very high. Wages for many jobs have not kept pace. Domestic violence is another major reason why women and children become homeless. They flee unsafe homes with nowhere else to go. Mental health challenges or substance use issues can also play a role, making it hard to maintain housing and employment. Living without shelter is an incredibly difficult experience. Imagine not knowing where you will sleep each night. Imagine worrying about your safety constantly. Simple things become major challenges. Where do you use the bathroom? How do you keep clean? Where can you store your few belongings without them being stolen? People experiencing homelessness often face hunger and poor nutrition. They are more exposed to bad weather and violence. The constant stress takes a toll on both physical and mental health. It is a life of uncertainty and often despair. The feeling of being invisible is common. People walk by, sometimes avoiding eye contact. It can be very isolating. There is also a stigma attached to homelessness. People experiencing it are often judged unfairly. They might feel shame or embarrassment, even though their situation is not their fault. Daily life becomes about survival. Finding food, finding a safe place to rest, and trying to hold on to hope become the main focus. It is a harsh reality, far removed from the everyday comforts that many of us take for granted. This is the daily struggle for thousands in San Diego. One of the biggest reasons people lose their homes in San Diego is the high cost of housing. Rent prices have climbed steadily for years. It is one of the most expensive places to live in the United States. For a person working a minimum wage job or even two, affording a modest apartment can be almost impossible. There simply isn't enough affordable housing available. When a large portion of someone's income goes just to pay rent, any unexpected expense can lead to a crisis. A car repair, a medical emergency, or a cut in work hours can mean falling behind on rent and facing eviction. Another significant factor is the lack of adequate support systems. This can mean many things. For some, it is a lack of family or friends who can help during a tough time. For others, it is the limited availability of social services. Programs that provide rental assistance, job training, or mental health care often have long waiting lists. There are not enough resources to meet the demand. When someone is already struggling, navigating complex systems to get help can be overwhelming. This gap in support means that people who might have been able to avoid homelessness with a little help can fall through the cracks. Health issues, both mental and physical, are also major contributors to homelessness. A serious illness can lead to job loss and large medical debts. Untreated mental health conditions can make it difficult to hold a job or manage daily life. Substance use disorders can also lead to instability and homelessness. Often these issues are interconnected. Someone might start using substances to cope with the stress of being homeless, or mental health issues might worsen without stable housing and access to care. Access to affordable healthcare and mental health services is crucial, but often limited for those most at risk. Social inequities also play a crucial role in who becomes homeless. People of color, particularly Black individuals, are disproportionately represented in the homeless population. This is often linked to systemic issues like discrimination in housing and employment, as well as disparities in education and healthcare. Historical injustices have created ongoing disadvantages for certain communities. Understanding these deeper systemic causes is important. Homelessness is not just about individual failings. It is often a reflection of broader societal problems that need to be addressed to create lasting solutions. Homelessness doesn't just affect the individuals who experience it directly. Its impact spreads like ripples through the entire community. For the people without homes, the effects are devastating. Their physical health often deteriorates due to exposure, poor nutrition, and lack of access to regular medical care. Minor health problems can become serious quickly. Mental health also suffers greatly. The constant stress, fear, and isolation can lead to depression, anxiety, and other conditions. Their potential is lost, their dreams are put on hold, and their daily life is a struggle for basic survival. Public health is another area significantly affected by widespread homelessness. When many people live in unsanitary conditions without access to bathrooms or clean water, it can increase the risk of disease outbreaks. Hepatitis A outbreaks have occurred in San Diego, linked to these conditions. This puts not only the homeless population at risk, but also the wider community. Emergency rooms often become the primary source of healthcare for homeless individuals, which is expensive and not ideal for managing chronic conditions. The strain on public health resources is considerable, diverting funds and attention that could be used for preventative care. Local businesses also feel the impact of homelessness. Some business owners report concerns about customers being deterred by visible homelessness near their establishments. They might worry about sanitation issues or perceived safety concerns. This can lead to economic losses for small businesses, which are vital to the city's economy. There are also costs associated with cleaning public spaces and addressing property damage. While these concerns are valid for businesses, it's important to approach the issue with compassion. The solutions should not focus on simply moving people out of sight, but on addressing the root causes of why they are there. The community as a whole pays a price. There are direct costs such as funding for emergency shelters, outreach teams, and healthcare services. There are also indirect costs, like the impact on tourism, which is a major industry for San Diego. More broadly, homelessness can create social divisions and a sense of unease. It challenges our shared values of compassion and community. When so many of our neighbors are struggling, it affects the overall well-being and character of our city. Addressing homelessness is not just a moral imperative. It is also an investment in a healthier, safer, and more vibrant community for everyone. The city and county of San Diego have implemented various strategies to address homelessness. These include opening more shelter beds. Some shelters are large, offering temporary refuge for many people. Others are smaller, focusing on specific groups like families or veterans. There are also bridge shelters, which aim to provide a temporary safe place while case managers work with individuals to find permanent housing. Outreach teams go out into the community. They try to connect with people living on the streets. They offer services and try to build trust, encouraging people to come into shelters or accept help. Policies have also been put in place. For example, there have been efforts to increase the supply of affordable housing. This is a long-term goal. It involves changing zoning laws and providing incentives for developers. The city has also invested in programs that focus on housing first. This approach prioritizes getting people into permanent housing as quickly as possible. Then, it provides support services like mental health care or job training. The idea is that people can better address other issues once they have a stable place to live. These policies reflect a growing understanding of what works best. However, San Diego faces many challenges in its efforts. One major hurdle is the sheer scale of the problem. The number of people needing help often outstrips the available resources. There are not enough shelter beds for everyone who needs one. Even when shelter is available, some people are reluctant to use it. This can be due to strict rules, concerns about safety, or not wanting to be separated from partners or pets. The high cost of land and construction also makes it difficult and expensive to build new shelters or affordable housing units quickly. Another challenge is the coordination of services. Many different organizations and government agencies are involved in addressing homelessness. Sometimes, it can be hard for people to navigate this complex system. They might get different information from different places. Ensuring that all these efforts are working together smoothly is crucial but difficult. Public opinion can also be a challenge. While many San Diegans are compassionate, there can also be NIMBYism, not in my backyard. This is when people support solutions in theory, but oppose having shelters or affordable housing built near their own homes. This resistance can slow down progress significantly. Consider Maria, a single mother with 2 young children. She worked as a cleaner, but her hours were cut. Then her old car broke down and she couldn't afford the repairs. Without transportation, she lost her job. Soon, she couldn't pay the rent. She and her children ended up living in their broken-down car for a few weeks. Every night was cold. She worried constantly about her children's safety and what they would eat. Maria's story is not unique. It shows how quickly a series of unfortunate events can lead to homelessness, especially for families already struggling to make ends meet. She felt invisible, watching other families go about their normal lives. Then there is John, a veteran in his late 50s. He served his country proudly for many years. After leaving the military, he struggled with PTSD. He found it hard to keep a steady job. He didn't want to burden his family, so he drifted away. Eventually, he found himself living on the streets of downtown San Diego. He carried all his belongings in a backpack. He tried to stay clean and presentable, hoping to find work. But the longer he was homeless, the harder it became. John's situation highlights the need for better support for veterans, especially those dealing with the invisible wounds of service. Think about Sarah, a young woman who aged out of the foster care system at 18. She had no family support and very few resources. She found a part-time job, but it didn't pay enough for an apartment. For a while, she couch-surfed with friends, but she didn't want to overstay her welcome. She ended up sleeping in parks, trying to stay safe. She dreamed of going to college, but her immediate concern was finding her next meal. Sarah's experience shows how young people without a safety net are particularly vulnerable to homelessness. They need more than just a place to sleep. They need guidance and opportunities. These are just a few examples. Every person experiencing homelessness has a unique story. They are not just statistics. They are individuals who have faced difficult circumstances. They might be someone's parent, child, or sibling. Their stories often involve lost trauma and a struggle for dignity. Hearing these stories helps us to understand the human reality of homelessness. It moves the issue beyond abstract debates about policy. It reminds us that behind every number, there is a person who deserves compassion and a chance for a better life. These stories make the invisible visible, compelling us to care. San Diego has seen some success with certain approaches. The housing first model is one example. When people are moved directly into permanent housing with support services, they are more likely to stay housed. This approach has been shown to be effective in many cities. It recognizes that housing is a basic need. Once that need is met, people can focus on other challenges like finding work or managing health issues. San Diego has invested in some housing first programs. Expanding these programs could make a big difference for many individuals and families currently on the streets or in temporary shelters. Collaborative efforts have also shown promise. When different organizations work together, they can achieve more. This includes city and county governments, non-profit organizations, healthcare providers, and community groups. Coordinated entry systems, for example, aim to make it easier for people to access services. Instead of having to go to many different places, a person can go to one point of contact. This helps to connect them with the right resources more efficiently. Strengthening these collaborations and ensuring they are well-funded is key. It makes the system less fragmented and more user-friendly for those in desperate need of assistance. However, many things still need fixing. The biggest issue remains the lack of affordable housing. Without a significant increase in housing that low-income people can afford, homelessness will continue to be a major problem. Building more affordable units takes time and money. It also requires political will and community support. Addressing zoning laws that restrict the construction of denser, more affordable housing is a critical step. We need creative solutions to speed up the development of housing that matches the income levels of working San Diegans. This is a long-term challenge, but an essential one. Prevention is another area that needs more attention. It is often more effective and less costly to prevent someone from becoming homeless in the first place than to help them after they have lost their home. This means more support for rental assistance programs. It means providing legal aid for people facing eviction. It means better access to mental health care and substance use treatment. Early intervention can stop a crisis from escalating. San Diego needs to invest more in these upstream solutions. We must catch people before they fall into the devastating cycle of homelessness. Fixing these gaps is crucial for real progress. The challenge of homelessness in San Diego is large, but it is not impossible to solve. It begins with empathy. We need to see the people experiencing homelessness not as a problem, but as our neighbors. They are individuals with inherent dignity, facing incredibly difficult circumstances. Putting ourselves in their shoes, even for a moment, can change our perspective. Empathy moves us from judgment to compassion. It opens our hearts and minds to the possibility of helping. This shift in perspective is the foundation for any meaningful action. It reminds us of our shared humanity. Empathy must then lead to action. This is a shared responsibility. It is not just up to the government or non-profit organizations. Every member of the community has a role to play. This could mean volunteering time at a local shelter or food bank. It could mean donating to organizations that provide services to the homeless. It could mean advocating for policies that create more affordable housing and support services. Businesses can consider fair chance hiring practices. Landlords can be open to renting to people who have experienced homelessness. Small actions, when multiplied by many, can create a powerful wave of change. We need to support solutions that are proven to work, like housing first. We also need to be open to new and innovative ideas. This might involve exploring different types of housing, like tiny homes or shared housing models. It could mean using technology to better connect people with services. It requires a willingness to learn, adapt, and try new approaches. Not every idea will be a perfect success, but a commitment to continuous improvement is essential. We must not let the complexity of the problem lead to inaction or despair. There is always something that can be done. Ultimately, the goal is to create a San Diego where everyone has a safe and stable place to call home. This is not just a dream. It is a necessity for a just and thriving community. It requires a long-term commitment from all of us. It demands that we look beyond the postcard image of our city and confront the realities faced by our most vulnerable residents. With empathy, collective action, and a persistent sense of hope, we can make progress. We can build a future where the shadows of homelessness no longer fall upon so many in our sunny city. This is the promise of a truly shared future.